Hi, Rob. Welcome to Funnel Vision. Excited to have you on today and learn about your sales expertise and any tips, tricks, and advice that you have for our community of sales professionals.
Oh, thanks a lot. I am thrilled to be here. I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Yeah, perfect. Well, jumping in, what is one like game-changing tactic that you rely on to build strong, authentic client relationships?
Well, I'm happy to say this is in my world, this is a recent development. I've just become certified as an outgrow advisor. And when outgrow, what we do is proactive outreach, reaching out to people on the phone, not sending emails, not blog posts are not working. LinkedIn, social media is just getting more and more crowded and noisy. But people appreciate a personal outreach via the phone and a text. And coming to the people with even existing clients on a prospect with kind of a problem solving attitude, not trying to sell you something additional, but what are you working on now that's giving you headaches that I might be able to help you with? And so that's kind of been a game changer for me.
Yeah. Do you feel that, it just like kind of you said, like so many people are focusing on, cold outreaches, emails, cold calling, and like just, kind of these like mass blasts that when you pick up the phone and call someone, it makes such a difference and it's so much more like memorable.
There's a certain kind of person that can cold call. I've found it to be a soul destroying activity. Um, and as a recipient, I wouldn't be very receptive to cold calls. I mean, I respect the person calling, but it's just not going to work for me. And so, what I like to do now is, work on and to a greater degree foster those existing relationships. And I think that's what people want now. They don't want to be sold to. They want professional relationships where they can consistently provide services for you. And even in times, crunch times, hey, let me call Rob. He might be able to have a great service for me. He might be able to help me out. And so I think that's what people are looking for now. Is those relationships with
Yeah.
reliable relationships with their partners.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. It's just it's so important and just to be that trusted partner versus more like, like transactional, just to have that partnership and like a true authentic relationship is key.
Yeah.
So, absolutely. What's a piece of sales advice that you've received that has, changed your approach or has been, something that's inspired you?
Well, foster those relationships, be relationship based, and be careful using the word vendor. I mean, vendor literally means to sell, right? But I love that you use the word transactional. Vendor sounds so transactional. And I was guilty of doing that. I did that once and someone pulled me aside and like, they don't like that word. I was like, oh, okay, I got it. So I never used the word vendor. It's partner because, a vendor is a peddler. Someone sold me a pair of socks in Times Square. A partner is someone who's going to be working with you and helping you succeed and making your success their success.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. The truth. It's, exactly. The vendor is transactional. I don't know how you knew this, but completely funny. I actually was in Times Square last weekend and bought a pair of socks for my son from a vendor. So I don't know like where you are in how you quite knew that or to say that, but that's just, just funny.
That's very,
And it's just too funny, just a random example. So yeah. But like moving to like AI too, like how do you think, with, creating relationships and having like so much important focus on relationships, like how do you see AI in the sales world like changing the way, people work and the future of sales?
wow. AI is like in 2025, we're standing on the beaches of Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, and it's 1903. And there go the Wright brothers for 90 seconds. And then, in 1969, men are on the moon. That's where AI is, I think, right now. Although the progression, the speed of it will be so much faster. And so I think we already see that AI is really just jamming up. If you're on Facebook, there's so many silly, ridiculous posts and things like that. I haven't seen it yet on LinkedIn, but What's to prevent someone in the very near future? Hey, just had lunch with Bill Gates. It was a great experience. And there's a picture I generated of me and Bill Gates. It's not true, but who's going to know? So that's Bill Gates chimes in. In fact, I've seen a story or two like that recently. And so it's moving so fast. And I think AI will be great for sales teams in terms of the breadth and the depth of penetration, reaching out to people, getting the message across. However, would you buy anything of substance via AI? Now, our purchasing behavior may change in 20 years, 10 years. So I could be whistling a different tune in 10 years. But right now, I don't think I would buy anything except for a small transactional item via AI. I certainly wouldn't buy, a big ticket item. I wouldn't buy a car through a bot. I want to speak to a human being that's going to guide me
Yeah.
to purchase. So, but yeah, we're on the beaches of, with the Wright brothers right now. So we'll see where it takes us.
Yeah, it is. It's really interesting, and it's even in the past year, like how far it's come, how many people are, adopting AI into their businesses. And, for even as like recruiter and, for the things that we do, we utilize AI as far as like research and, getting in front of candidates and, researching where can we find those people that meet our clients' needs and things like that. But there's other AI tools out there that are like AI interviewers and, AI where the person would just interview with a bot instead of interviewing with a human. And no way, right? Like it's, for us, it's so, it's in any type of sales and recruiting. I consider recruiting a form of sales. We
Well,
are selling,
yeah,
to candidates, and it's so relationship driven.
yeah,
And although AI can help you with, your data and making sure that if you have a proposal, maybe it'll help you get that proposal out quicker or things like that. But it's not going to help with the, relationship and driving that part.
no, I agree. And that's kind of just the essence of what you do and what I do. It's the relationship part. We're not putting together Facebook ads to sell socks and toothpaste. It's, you're building a relationship with clients that you want to make sure that you're placing quality people with your clients. And so you can't do that without good relationship. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. Um, what do you think is something that salespeople should stop doing if they want to become more successful?
Stop emailing. Emails go to inbox. That's where emails go to die in the inbox. Pick up the phone. Like Alex Goldfein wrote, pick up the phone and sell. But pick up the phone at the appropriate time. Don't sell out of desperation. Um, and because everyone can smell that, right? And so I know it's easy to say because we all get in those situations sometimes, but try not to sell out of desperation. And remember that sales is an honorable profession. So you deserve a no, a firm no from client or prospect. And you also, and I'm sure you've been in this situation, Alana, you also have the right to be, yes, I'm pitching a prospect, but I'm interviewing the prospect as well to see if we're a good fit. It's just like when we go to an interview. You've had countless interviews. Yeah, I'm not sitting with Alana just to interview for this job, but it's, we're interviewing each other to see if we're a good fit.
Yeah.
And salespeople should be empowered to say, and I've had to fire clients and it's painful, but sometimes it has to be done. And so just remember that it's that, you deserve that no when it is a no, and you deserve the opportunity to say, you know what, we're going down this road, but I know it's not going to work out well for either one of us. So let's part ways.
Yeah, and that's a hard lesson to learn, especially as, when
Yeah.
you're in the beginning of a sales career, it's really hard. And until you realize it's about, realizing your worth. And exactly, I love what you said, like sales is an honorable profession and it's important that you value yourself and value your time. And it is very hard, especially the first couple of times you have to do it and, part ways with a client, because it's just not a good match. But it's such an important lesson because you have to value yourself, your time, and not every client is the right client. and it just they're going to suck more of your time out. They're going to, that's time that you could be using to find a better client and put your, your time in better places. But yeah, it's a hard lesson to learn. It's hard to do, and especially in the beginning.
Typically, you only learn that when you get older, but as you get older and you're more experienced, life is too short to work with people that are gonna create misery in your life, right? So, I mean, find good people to work with who have the same values and the same vision, and your life will be improved by working with that type of person.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And one of those things that you mentioned too about like outgrow and stop emailing and pick up the phone. Um, since I've been learning about outgrow and the outgrow system too, like I've been taking that into to myself where I'm like sitting there and I'm creating an email to a client and I'm like, why am I not just picking up the phone and talking to this person? Right. And it's stopped me in my tracks as I do that, and I have conversations and I'm like, this should be a phone call. But it's hard. It's a change because everything is email. People default to email,
Right.
and just picking up the phone, having a conversation, like you can get so much more out of it. Deepen the relationship. Ask whatever question it is that you wanted to ask. Offer more advice. You learn more about the person, and it's just a better way to go.
Yeah, there's definitely as behavior change that has to happen, and there's a fear factor there without a doubt, because for a long time now it's shoot the email and so forth, but with Outgrow we teach pick up the phone and then follow up with a text because we all know this. Many emails don't get read or they just sit for days. Every text gets read almost immediately, right? So you can't say,
Yeah.
well, your text must have gone to my spam. It's like, dude, I sent you a text at 9 a.m. I know by 10 you read it, right? And so, but there's a fear factor involved because people have been doing it a particular way for so long. It's a sudden change and they don't want to bother the client. They don't want to bother the prospect. But we've learned that, this has been done with 400 companies, that the vast majority of clients aren't bothered by it. It's like, oh, you took the time to call me. I appreciate that. And so it's just a mindset that after a while, people get it and they see the value of what they're doing. Their sales helping. They're not they're not selling. Um, and s-
Mhm.
that behavior change comes pretty quickly.
Yeah, that's absolutely agree. Uh, Moving to like, sales talent and hiring people in sales roles, do you have any strategies that you've used in the past when you've been hiring, sales talent to
Yeah.
really, find those like rock stars and gem, candidates?
Yes. Well, one of the things I also do is I'm a Colby certified consultant. And so Colby is a great tool to assess someone's instinctive strengths, not their intelligence, not their personality. It's instinctively, how do they ad- address tasks? How do they deal with risk? How do they organize information and so forth? And so Colby assesses those instinctive strengths, and every company sells different things. They sell a different way. They have a different dynamic. And so one of the things I've done with clients is the hiring manager will put together their own Colby assessment. We call it Colby C, how they see success for a new candidate. And then we'll put the Colby A's together for potential candidates, and they're graded side by side. And so candidate number one, well, he's a C minus. His Colby A is a C minus compared to the manager what he views success. Candidate two, he's a B plus. Candidate three, well, she's an A minus. Well, let's bring candidate two and three in to start instead of bringing in three, four, five people. And so we do that early on to prevent the conflict. And you know this as well as anyone, probably better than most people. You place someone, wow, you looked really great on paper. He's just not working out for some reason. What's going on there? And Colby is a great assessment to kind of help prevent that. It's not the only tool of hiring, of course, but it's kind of a great start to be like, all right, well, this person, he kind of fits the model of instinctively, this is how he's going to work in the organization.
Yeah, I love that. And, we've talked a bit, about Colby and everything. And it's so valuable, to understanding, what somebody is like you've said, like who they are at the core. like
Yeah.
who they are as a person, like what they truly, would default to, and how their personality. And there's not like a right and a wrong. There's
Correct.
just different,
That's
and
right.
who's going to fit into like different type of roles.
That's right.
So it's, for like certain type of roles and for certain type of teams, what type of background and or, kind of, mix is going to be the right mix, and finding that person will have the best chance of success. So I love being able to use that as a tool to assess a candidate when you're looking for, a sales position, but even any other position as well.
Yeah.
It definitely makes sense.
And that
So
Colby is it's a great for yourself. It's a great self-awareness tool as well. And so, if you're depending on I don't want to get the weeds of the score, but scores and so forth. But if you find that you're a low quick start, like I am, I would not excel in a job that required me to brainstorm with crazy ideas and like jump off the cliff and then build a plane on the way down. It's like, could I do that? But I wouldn't be happy doing it, having a role like that. Someone who was a higher
Mhm.
like, okay, this person is better for this particular role. So Colby works very closely with EOS and the whole concept of right people, right seat.
Yeah, that's something we're a big fan. Right people, right seat. It's kind of like even through, as we run on EOS, and
Yeah,
really our whole recruiting process is, and when we chat with clients, if
yeah,
they run on EOS, we talk about right people, right seat. If they don't run
yep.
on EOS, we're still using the same, same thing. So I absolutely agree. Colby's very helpful for finding that, right balance. So yeah. So Rob, tell us a little bit about, your background, what you do, and where people can find you.
Oh, sure. Thank you. Well, oh gosh. Well, my background is fairly diverse. I'm doing opera in Colby at the moment, but prior to that, I owned a virtual assistant company, based here in Denver, but with clients throughout the country. That's where I kind of got attracted to Colby because we utilize Colby as a hiring tool and a matching tool with clients. I helped to grow that from was about $130,000 company to about 1.7 million over 5 years, and then ended up moving on and selling my portion of the company. But before that, I just had a wide variety of both entrepreneurial and corporate gigs, working for Arrow Electronics here in Denver, um, biz dev jobs with a few agencies here in Denver. Back at Boston, I had done that as well. And in New York City, after getting my MBA, I was in brand management at Philip Morris. So working, managing the Merit brand and so forth. And so I had that concrete marketing exposure, which, they were just a great company because they were a huge marketing, monster at the time. And so throughout my career, I've had to kind of reinvent myself a couple of times, which I found to be fun and exciting, and a little bit challenging, and a little bit nerve wracking, but it worked out pretty well so far. And before getting my MBA, I was a school teacher for 4 years. I taught junior high social studies, believe it or not.
Oh wow. That might be the most impressive accomplishment, having kids that have gone through middle school. Woof.
Yeah, it was, it was a lot of fun. I was a lot younger. I had a lot more energy, but I didn't realize it at the time, of course. But I learned so many as a school teacher. I learned so many skills, and I was able to incorporate into my business existence, my business life later on. Thinking on my feet, being able to pivot quickly, speaking in front of people, presenting. I knew some brilliant people who say a company like Philip Morris, extremely smart, and they were dynamite and everything. The idea of them presenting in front of senior management was they were white sheets. And I just used the tool of, okay, well, yes, it's a nerve-wracking experience presenting your plans to senior management. But you know what? They're not 22-year-old kids who don't care about American history. So, 22, 14-year-olds. So, this will be easy for me. And so that's what I use to be able to present. And so me speaking in front of a crowd and so forth is fun for me, um, thanks to my teaching experience back in the day. So it's been a watch.
Yeah, love that.
That has been a long, strange trip as a
Yeah.
man once sang.
Yeah. And so where can people find you or, get you're on LinkedIn and everything so
Yes.
people can look
On
you up there?
I'm on LinkedIn. Porchswingconsulting.com is my website. There's a place there if you want to set up some time with me, or you can always shoot me an email at rob@porchswingconsulting.com. Or if you want to call me the Outbro way, don't shoot me an email. My cell phone, 917-532-1668. You can always hit me up there and I'll respond and would love to chat.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Rob, for being on Funnel Vision.
Yeah, no,
Appreciate your time and all of the conversation. And yeah, wishing you the best.
thank you, Alana, for the opportunity, and thank you, Funnel Vision.